I want you to think about what performance means. It could be something wildly complex, like, say, the team that worked together to put astronauts on the moon. Or something simpler, like having the best strategy to win a game of chess. How about drilling and completing a well on time and under budget? Strong performance requires planning to make a process as efficient as possible. A plan that guides your work toward clearly defined goals at every step of the process. And you need to consider how your performance stacks up against others. To win that chess game or football championship, you have to have a strategy that leads to better performance than your competition. The global well delivery process works the same way, creating maximum value by helping you plan and execute high-value projects. But I might be getting ahead of myself. Here, let me give you a more detailed example. Let's say you have two families. Caitlin Shaw, a senior well engineer, lives next door to her sister, Sarah Walsh, also a senior well engineer. Caitlin's husband, Oliver, is a stay-at-home dad. So is Sarah's husband, Eddie. In fact, let's say Eddie and Oliver are also brothers. Actually, that's probably too many coincidences. Both families want to build a new house. They buy empty lots next door to each other. Hey, they're a close family. Each family plans to move into their new house in a year.
Unsigned device drivers pose a threat to the security of a computer and its network because they can be easily altered by unscrupulous programmers to contain malwares and trojans. This animation will show you how this risk can be avoided by using digitally signed device drivers that include a digital signature provided by a signer. A signer is an organization or publisher that uses a private key to create the digital signature for the device driver. Generally, the process the publisher uses to create a digital signature starts by running the device driver files through a hash algorithm and then using the publisher's private key to transform the hash result cryptographically. The resulting value is the digital signature of the device driver. The digital signature value is a protected checksum. A protected checksum is the value of an algorithmic function that is dependent on the contents of the data object with which it is stored. Its purpose is to protect the data object against active attacks that attempt to change the checksum to match changes that a malicious individual has made to the data object. During the installation on Windows 7, the device driver is decrypted using the public key with the operating system software. The fact that the user can decrypt the driver using the signer's public key confirms that the software has not been modified. We can, therefore, summarize the process of digitally signing a device driver as follows. The signer runs the device driver files through a hash algorithm. The signer uses the publisher's private key to transform the hash result cryptographically. A user decrypts the hash algorithm using the publisher's public key.
Computers convert information into binary or zeros and ones, but for humans it is difficult to process information in binary form. Converting binary to decimal helps somewhat, but that can still be difficult. Imagine having to memorize the IP address for all of your favorite websites, like Microsoft. Instead of typing the name of the website, imagine having to type its IP address in a web browser. Instead of having to remember the numbers, the Internet uses DNS, or Domain Name System, to translate numbers into user-friendly names. DNS is a client-server operation with a client generally requesting a resource, like www.microsoft.com, and a server responding to the request by providing the requesting system with the corresponding IP address. Virtually all operating systems have a DNS client called a resolver that enables them to send a host name to a DNS server and receive the IP address associated with that name in return. If a user wants to access a website, the resolver submits a name resolution request to the DNS server specified in its TCP IP configuration settings. When the server does not possess information about the requested name, It forwards the request to another DNS server on the network. The second server generates a response containing the IP address of the requested name and returns it to the first server, which relays the information in turn to the resolver. We can therefore summarize the concept of name resolution as TCP/IP systems use the friendly host names to discover the IP address associated with a specific name. This discovery process is called name resolution. Domain Name System, or DNS, resolves names into IP addresses.
This demo will present a scenario where an expert will share his or her experience of using RAID as a tool to protect against hard drive failure. Hi, I am Aaron. Let me share with you my experience of using RAID at my organization. We had updated the redundant array of inexpensive disks, RAID1, to RAID5 array for the server installed in the Human Resources Department. RAID5 allowed us to store data with increased disk performance and also offered protection against disk failure. RAID5 can continue to function even if one of the hard drives in the RAID5 array fails. The array worked fine for 8 months. However, one fine morning the server started running sluggishly. Users experienced a slowdown in the response from the server. RAID5 requires at least 3 drives. We found that the server was running on only 2 of the 3 drives. On further examining the RAID, we found that it was caused by a drive failure. With RAID5, there is a redundancy for data. Therefore, the drive failure was masked from users. RAID needs to have like manufacturers and sizes to work correctly. This delayed the replacement by 3 days as the required drive was not available at the time. Once we got the required drive, the old drive was pulled out while the machine was live and the replacement was installed. The RAID array was rebuilt while the machine was running and active. This was all done with very little assistance by me. The RAID configuration took about 30 minutes up front before installing the operating system. Within a few hours, while users were still connected, the array was functioning perfectly with almost no downtime. In RAID5, subsequent reads can be calculated from the distributed parity, such that the drive failure is masked from the end user. However, the benefits of having users working uninterrupted in case of a drive failure, a hardware failure, are priceless.
Ma, we have bought almost everything we need to decorate our home for Diwali. Let's go home and start decorating.
Yes, let me take one last look at my list to see if I've missed anything. Ah, we've not bought a toran for our entrance door.
Look there, a variety of torans, Ma.
May I have this toran, please? About 2 cubits?
All right. Here you are.
Thank you. Here is the money.
Ma, I cannot reach the door. Can you please help me?
Sure, Rupa.
That's looking beautiful, Mummy. We should have got a toran for the other door as well. Our decorations look incomplete without it.
I am a little tired. Can you run along and get one more toran for this door too?
Sure, Ma. I will tell the flower seller to give me a toran of the same size as this one.
That's right. Here, take the money and come back soon.
All right, Ma. My mother and I just bought a toran. May I have another one, please? Yes, sure. How much did you buy? I heard my mother say 2 cubits. All right. Here you are. Thank you so much. Ma, I'm back. Here is the toran. Let's hang it on the door.
All right. Thank you for getting it for me.
Oh no, Ma. This doesn't seem enough for the door. And our doors are exactly the same size.
That's strange. Did you buy 1 or 2 cubits? And from whom did you buy this, Rupa?
I asked for 2 cubits at the same shop. The flower seller's daughter measured the toran and gave it to me as her mother was busy.
Aha! That is the reason this toran is smaller, Rupa. The cubit, which is the length of the forearm, is the distance from the tip of the middle finger to the elbow. As we are all not built the same size, it is different for different people. Her daughter, being a child, has a shorter forearm. So this toran is shorter than the one measured by her mother. Let's use this elsewhere. You can go with your father in the evening and buy the right length of toran.
But Ma, this can create a lot of confusion, will it not?
Yes, Rupa, you are right. What is needed is a standard unit that does not change from person to person. The English created the foot to measure length. The French came up with the metric system that uses the meter. But having different standards can also cause confusion. Can you find out why? To overcome this, the SI system of units was formed that is accepted in most countries across the world. In the SI system, the meter is accepted as a measure of length.
I have seen the cloth seller using a rod with markings. Is this a meter?
What an observant child you are! Yes, that is the meter scale.
Ma, I will gift the flower seller a meter scale this Diwali. It will help her measure correctly and will not cause confusion like it did now.
That's a good thought, Rupa.
Click on the Know More button to learn more about the non-standard and standard units of measuring length.
Hello, kids. Welcome to the animal kingdom. I'm sure you all love animals. Let's meet some animals today and see what they eat, where they live, and the sounds they make. Does that sound like fun? Let's get started.